Right, Joe, thank you
Hello.
for coming to give this testimony. Just so, for those of the people who don't know, you are our CAP Centre Manager
That's
for
right.
Reading East.
Yes.
And do you want to just say what CAP does?
CAP stands for Christians Against Poverty, and we are an international organisation now who work with people who are in serious debt problems.
Right. And part of your ministry is having given advice and helped on the whole debt issue, is that you'll always offer to pray for people.
Absolutely, always. Yep. The whole goal, as far as Christians Against Poverty, is that we are Christians against poverty, and so we always offer prayer, invite to church, try and share our faith, try and share our testimony. So yeah, I always do that with my clients.
Right. So we want to bring the kingdom into people's lives, and you've got a couple of testimonies of
Yeah.
2 clients that you recently prayed for.
Yeah. Almost all of our clients, 90%, are not Christians, and 2 that I'm going to talk about have never had any experience of church. Maybe one has a bit of faith. The other one, the first one, never been in church, doesn't know anything about Jesus, and God is just not on the radar at all. But I prayed for her, and I prayed that the Lord would just fill her from her toes to her head, and that she would know His love. And I don't normally do this, but I asked her, did you feel anything? Did anything happen? And she said, well, yes, actually. When you were praying, I felt this tingling going all up and down my legs. And I went into hysterical mode of sometimes when the Lord touches us, we feel things because He's a massive creator and we're just His people. So that was the Lord. That was the Lord interacting with you. He knows you. He loves you. That was Him just letting you know. Sometimes people laugh. Sometimes people cry. Sometimes people get shakes, and that was what that was. So
Right.
she was pretty shocked because she just thought God was nothing. And she said afterwards, she said that she told all of her friends that she'd been prayed for and had all this really strange sensation going on.
Right.
So yeah, that was quite encouraging.
And was she interested now in...
She said that she'd like to come to church, but I think she's, as an unchurched person, probably quite nervous about just stepping through the doors. So we haven't seen her in church yet, but
No.
it'd be nice to.
But she knows something is real now.
She does, yeah.
And that wasn't the case before.
Not at all, yeah.
So what about the second person?
The second person has some idea of the Christian faith, but definitely isn't in church and is very suspicious of religion in any way, shape or form.
Yeah.
But she was happy for us to pray for her. And whilst we were praying, she shot her hand up to her eye like this. Even though we weren't praying for anything physical, we were just praying that the Lord would touch her and that she would have release from her poverty and experience of Him. And afterwards I said, what's going on with your eye? And she said, oh, it's just twitching so much I had to cover it up. And me and Shelley were laughing because that's what happens when the Lord touches me a lot. My eyes will twitch and I've seen it in church. If she was in church, people would be like, oh, the Holy Spirit was on her.
Yeah.
But we were just standing in her front room praying for her and talking about her money. It's just a funny thing.
And did you explain that to her?
Yeah, I said.
And what was her response?
She wouldn't necessarily acknowledge it as God herself, but she is much more favourable towards us than she was when we first met her. So I would say that was very helpful for the Lord to intervene and give her some, just build some trust between us two.
Yeah. I think it's wonderful, Joe.
Yeah,
Kingdom's advancing.
absolutely.
So thank you very much for sharing that.
Thank you.